Ask Cloudia. Pull out my game real quick. I think I have to update it on my computer. I haven't played it on my computer in a couple
All right.
days.
I believe we are live and good to go. Hello, friends and fellow gamers. I am That Zero, and we are back with episode 19 of Cap Raise, the Last Cloudia podcast. I am joined, as always, by my lovely compatriots. We have DK. How's it going, man?
What's going on, guys? Pretty good,
And
bro.
Jawline Coon.
What's up, fellas?
Yeah,
uh,
I'm doing good.
so rough start. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. Just
Hold
blame it
on.
on me.
Oh, no.
I'm
mostly
just
my
looking at
fault.
John's face, man.
Hold on. Like my game is all screwed up. The window it got minimized.
Hashtag professional.
Okay, there it is. All right.
Nailed
So
it. Easy.
by now you guys should have already seen who and what Meredy is and what she does. I don't feel like we need to go super in depth just because again, she's been out for a week and there's been videos out there that, go over her kit and what she does. I'm just gonna give my general thoughts and then if I don't know if you guys have any other 2 cents that you want to add. But so first things first, her sprite it's fucking cool. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I love her sprite. It's really nice. Um, so her kit basically she revolves around like being able to like mix and match. Like if you want to use her S1, okay, cool. It has pros and also it has cons. She, in my eyes, is like the first unit that comes with like, hey, yeah, every unit comes with like customization, right? In terms of like what you want what you want to give them and stuff like that. But they took it a step further and they gave Meredy like the option to solely focus on her S1, solely focus on her S2 or on her S3. And doing so, if you focus on either one of those three, they have their pros and then they also have their cons. I don't think she's anything like super crazy in terms of like what she offers like DPS wise. I think she's a really cool unit. Again, just for the things that I mentioned about being able to like customize her so that she like focuses on one skill. But with that being said, you really only want to spam her S1 just because like in terms of like damage per second, her S1 is her like, DPS skill.
Mm-hmm.
I'll quickly go over her traits. So powered gear when hitting an attribute weakness damage plus 50%, damage cap plus 5,000. So that's cool. Assuming you can hit the weaknesses, she gets more damage and she gets a 5,000 damage cap. When attacking with skills, cut enemy attribute resistance and then deal damage for each repeat of a skill. Cut attribute resistance more. Max minus 15 resets with each wave. So every skill is a different element. So she has a way of lowering the enemy's elemental resistance, even though it's only to that certain element. It's still pretty cool. More units that have this like capability I think is pretty neat and maybe we'll see more in the future. But so for right now her S1 is fire, her S2 is ice, and then her S3 is thunder. So she's got some coverage and then she also has a way of being able to lower the resistance to uh, put it into her favor. So I think that's cool. Her second trait, built-in golem core. Abilities must be used to set skill or to use skills based on which skills are usable. Nullify flinch, cut magic attack damage from an element 20%. Skill 1 earth, skill 2 fire, skill 3 ice. Boost skill damage based on the number of unusable skills. One skill 50%, two skills 20%. So this second part, basically, the less skills you have for her available to use, the more damage she's going to do with that one skill. So for instance, if you take off her S2 and S3 and she only has her S1 available, now her S1 does 200% more damage. That's really cool. And then even though her S1 is fire, her S2 is ice, her S3 is thunder, she has this thing, her first part of her second trait, where depending on how many skills she has available, she can, whatchamacallit, nullify flinch and cut magic damage taken from the specific element, which she's got the same in her kit, fire and ice, but she also has earth. So I think this is pretty neat. I don't think it's anything game breaking, but I think it's really interesting that they're trying to make her like super custom. Give her more customization than what we already have. Um, as far as her kit, there's nothing too crazy that stands out. The only thing that's interesting for me, in my opinion, is her limiter release for 20 seconds, HP, SDR, defense in mind, plus 30%, and then boost chance of auto degravity boots activating. And then what that is chance to resist flinch from physical attacks. So I could see this being used in arena, but the fact that you have to cast this and it's only once per wave for 20 seconds, I don't really know how that's exactly going to work in arena, but I feel like if you were going to use it, it would probably be in arena. I haven't, since she's come out in the week that she has been out, I haven't seen her in arena on defense at all. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that her arena presence just isn't there, at least on defense, maybe on offense. But on defense, I haven't seen her at all.
Mm-hmm.
She's got armor mega boost, physical damage taken minus 10%, and then damage taken from bosses minus 10%. Again, there's nothing too crazy in her kit, but the quote unquote craziest thing is the limiter release. But that's about it. She's got like some skills for damage. If you want her to do damage.
Yeah, I could see the release for PvE in some cases where like bosses will have big attacks that come in. Some of those are physical. So like things that reduce physical damage can affect some of those. So if you're able to dodge some of those, like you could go in and use that if you're going against Fall Mega, for instance. And then for 20 seconds, she's probably going to have a pretty decent chance of not taking a ton of damage. And just dodging a bunch of those fire harvests. So that could be cool.
Go ahead. No, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead, but
I was just gonna say, I'm assuming Lake has like the percentages on the chance of those whatchamacallit, the nullify flinch.
Yeah. Oh right, and that is just nullify and flinch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But
yeah, either way, still pretty handy nonetheless. I absolutely love this idea of things being super configurable.
Right.
I remember back when we got Meredy, like the original Meredy, and I had gone to the dev feedback and I was like, guys, we need more customization on stuff. Like this thing you did with like overclock, cool concept, but just like lean into it and go crazy and like just do a lot more. Because like having like trade-offs where there's positives mixed with negatives and like just fine-tuning your kit. And then, like, we got a little bit with, like, the near stuff where you can have your chips, but that was mostly stat-based for the most part. And then like, resistances. A little bit more than that, but mostly stats, resistances, and just kind of number toggling. And then we get this, and it's like, this feels awesome. Like, I want her, and I'm really glad she's in the general pool, so eventually maybe I'll happen to get her. But just the idea of like she comes with dual wield innate, but then she also has like two-handed machine and armor mega boost. So it's like literally whatever you want her to do. Like the whole theme is just custom configure her to do what the hell you need, which is just awesome to me. Also, she comes with the whatever the hell it's called, like scroll all the way to the bottom. Her unique thing that lets her be broken with that dragon arc. I assume, still does that.
No, she does not come with it.
She doesn't.
I'm so upset. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that for some reason I heard people talking.
I saw it and I got like super excited and I was like, "Oh my god, she's broken."
Very sad.
And then I got an instant message from Tweaks. He's like, "No, man,
she doesn't come with it, unfortunately."
Yeah.
I do think something that, if they wanted to expand on this type of thing, having something where you could essentially toggle on and off the skills, or like that sort of power limiter in the middle of the match with like magic spells. So something like reroute power laser arm. Like if that was a spell you could do to say, okay, increase this damage by 200% but disable your other skills, So effectively, you take like 1 second in combat to like convert over to that being your power source, and then that's super duper charged while everything else is disabled. And then you could take another second to reroute power over to a different source, and then you could do something else.
Right.
That could be cool too. The other thing that stood out to me is the dash boost.
It's like the gas, right?
Yeah,
Somewhat similar.
Yeah, I would assume, but again, I don't have her, and I haven't seen many people
Right.
talking about it, so I'm guessing it's not nearly as big of a boost. But the fact that like I assume it's not on a cooldown, it's just tied to your regular attack. Like that's pretty sweet. Even if it's like a +5 to movement speed, a +3 to movement speed, like that's still pretty cool and pretty handy to just have like an additional way to get around. And I would hope that it's better than that and noticeable, but. Yeah, she just has some unique things that I think is really neat, and I'm glad to see it. It's looking like a good year overall. We've had our Dean, we now have her. I think we're going to have some really cool stuff coming out this year to look forward to.
Yeah. So with you being, or with you saying that she's a perm unit, I think it's safe to say that. So whenever a new unit comes out, I think it's safe to say that people generally look at a new unit and like, hey, are they worth pulling? Are they better than Lug? And this and that. Like they're
Sure.
always like the comparison or whatever.
Yeah.
So with obviously she's a perm unit, so biggest reason to not pull for her just because she's a perm unit. You'll eventually get her. Like for instance, just as an example, like Guardian Angel Lukiel, I didn't pull for her. Eventually I did get her, and now she's at +18. Obviously it took me a long time, but she's a perm unit, so I eventually accumulated enough dupes to get to where I'm at right now. So people, whenever a new unit comes out, they're always like, "Hey, should I pull for this unit? Are they good? This and that." It's starting to be like a little bit annoying because people kind of like just like rely on others. Like, "Hey, should I pull for them? Hey, are they good?" Instead of just like looking at the unit and you're just using their common sense. But what I'm trying to say is, don't pull for her. She's a perm unit. You'll eventually get her. And even if she wasn't a perm unit, I still wouldn't say to pull for her just because, like, she looks like a fun unit. I've just from what I've seen and just from what I can tell just from the kit, she looks fun. But as far as pulling for her, I don't see a reason to pull for her apart from like waifu reason and like being fun.
Yep.
That's about it.
Yep, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Like, if you just like her and you want her, cool, go ahead and throw your gems out. Like, feel free. I'm sure she's a great unit. From what I've seen, she is. But, again, you could just luck into her another time, so...
Right. So I didn't cover her resistances, but real quick, so she's super weak to thunder. Makes sense. -30. She's a machine. She's got no resistances to dark or light, so if she happens to be on a arena defense, and like for instance myself, I run gaze, so if I run into her, assuming she doesn't have 10, then she's gonna be an easy target. Her ailments: she's resistant to poison, neutral to blind, neutral to silence, resistance to curse, and then weak to stun. I think that makes sense just because she's a machine. She's resistant to illness. Pretty interesting ailment resistance spread, but unfortunately, I don't think there's anything too crazy apart from just like curse resistance and illness. That's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have any other input on that.
Like what Zero said earlier, her kit. One thing I do like about it is that it is very unique. But also, I also noticed that she kind of does have the top tier of like almost every what she does come with. Like, I do like the fact that she comes with like mega boost and mega armor, and then sharp eyes. It feels like everything she has is like
Indomitable
super
spirit.
like double spirit,
Yeah.
giant killing too. I mean, if we were to put, we don't think we have that to teachable yet, but if we did,
No.
imagine how much that would cost. It seems like they put like all this really high end bougie ass shit on her, and therefore from like there you can go ahead and adjust to what you want her to do, like an attack raise. I feel like they like, well, let's knock out all the heavy shit, and then you guys can go ahead and build her and have fun. I really do. I do agree with Zero. Like, the way they're doing this now is what needed to be done to where we have more customizable stuff. When I saw the two-handed machine and the and the dual wield, that's absolutely insane. Considering that two-handed machine is only on an LR arc, so awesome to see on a general unit. Another thing though, as you guys are saying to pull or not to pull on her, there is something that I wasn't gonna pull on her, but I did notice that on the step up, it is discounted. Therefore, if you were trying to get one of her paid weapons, it feels like it's discounted as well because you have the discount pull set on the first wave, and then you get the 1,000 pull or the 10 times gotcha for 1,000, which is another 10 credentials, and then you just need the extra 5, and you get pretty much a discounted weapon. So
it's a fair call.
That's another way of looking at it. If you actually know that you're going to get the character later, we know that generally you are going to get her later on. Securing a weapon might not be the worst thing ever if you are kind of like a small dolphin in the game. Just something to think about instead of like, oh, don't pull for her. But if you know you're going to love her, because overall you got to look at her as a fun unit.
Right.
And from what I've seen, she really is just very unique. I've seen a couple of Tweaks' videos and stuff. It looks really, really fun. So ideally, I'd probably run dual wield on her just because I want more hits. I feel like the amount of hits you would output would beat the single wield. I haven't seen I don't have her, nor have none of my friends have put her on support, so I can't really use her yet. So I don't know like what she looks like on the one-handed side, but ideally we all know about the two-handed, the dual wield. So I was thinking more or less the arm. I know we do lose a little bit of damage cap, but it also would be fun to have both because that's a really significant on the damage cap area to have the armor and the paid weapon damage capped, which is kind of new as well. We don't really see that too often, so it's kind of like damn.
Yeah.
And we won't. It's gonna be a while before we even see this stuff come back unless they throw it in the Crimson Shop, a year from now. So just a couple things to think about for the future. So I myself have decided to go ahead and at least secure one of the weapons because like I when I do get her, I will play with her. I will like build her and stuff. So at least have something towards it.
Yeah.
Just a little thing.
So speaking of paid gear, let's move on to paid gear.
Yeah. Speaking of fun,
go ahead.
I find it very funny that this is Earth Element.
Oh yeah, what the hell? Why is this thing Earth?
Not even one of her 3 things, like one of her 3 skills are configured for Earth. So like I would have expected this to maybe match like either be neutral or something, or even have an effect, or like maybe have an effect that says like changes element of weapon to match like it's neutral, otherwise it converts to an element if only one skill is set. That would make sense. Cool. That would make sense to me, and that'd be a cool mechanic. But like they just randomly threw Earth on it. Like what?
Okay,
what?
Yeah. but let me present to you this. All right, so it's Earth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so get this.
Yeah. Okay.
Boom! Elemental drive.
You got me. You got it.
Clearly, the paid was for that.
So, aside from the element, it's a good arm piece. Like, it's solid.
That's a great general weapon, man. Yeah, no, it's
like.
So the SET speed, like she already gets like plus 100 SET speed, so this isn't really anything, too outlandish. It's cool, right? It's nice to have for sure. She already gets 200% more damage, so the 20% is, I guess, a little bit better, right, than the 10%. Yeah. But again, I don't think it makes. Well, I guess it could make a big difference.
I would think the skill damage would make a difference. So
if she's compared to the SET.
Yeah, if she's not capping, it probably matters just because usually damage calculation factors those things in differently, and the fact it's skill damage, like that almost certainly sits in its own category in damage calculation. So I would think that probably is multiplicative with all the other stuff. So you could build tankier while still hitting cap, The SET recovery, I've never found building SET recovery to ever matter whatsoever. So, like, that's a dead slot to me. And cap increase, honestly, is also not that crazy. Just because, like, if you're using a single skill, which is kind of what she's intended for, like, configure her for the fight that's weak against the one skill, like, doesn't she get over, like, 30, 40k cap? Like... 2K is not
it's
crazy.
no, it's just a
2K,
pretty
you know?
number. It's just pretty flashy
Yeah.
number.
It's like adding 2K to Maja.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Running
Yeah, or
Scarlet
adding
Run on
1K to like
Maja.
Leona. It's just weird.
So yeah, it's fine. Like it's good, but compared to other paid weapons, I'm pretty fine on it. Seems okay.
So our verdict, it's cool.
Yeah,
That's about it.
it makes me laugh. It's kind of decent. Like skill damage plus 20% is kind of the reason to get it. The extra damage cap is fine.
Okay, so ideally, to speak on behalf of others as well. As far as new players that did pull on this, what would you guys go for out of the two?
I need to see the other one too. I mean,
let's move on to the armor piece.
yeah.
Okay, so here's the armor. Physical attack damage cap plus 3,500. Physical attack damage plus 10%, and damage taken minus 10%.
So here's the question. If you plan on, like, are you going to use her in arena? If you're going to use her in arena, I 100% take this armor.
Armor.
Absolutely, I would take this armor. Yeah, that's just my take. Like, it's got decent defense on it. Damage taken minus 10% is pretty nice, with a damage bump as well, a little bit of HP. Like, it's a pretty solid piece of armor, especially if you're making a more tanky team. You probably want, like, God Gold and some of the other armors on your other units. So being able to have her own is kind of cool. It's just not going to be helpful in PvE.
No.
Right.
So if you're only playing PvE and you already have the credentials to get the other one, I wouldn't recommend anybody go out of their way to get the paid stuff. So, like, even though it's discounted, I don't think either of these are so crazy you should go out of your way to go spend money on them, personally.
Right.
But if you already did, because waifu reasons and stuff, like, Tony Stark's hot cousin or whatever, like, if you're just into that thing, dope. Like, cool. Yeah, that's my take on those.
Yeah, I like that it's got 20 thunder res, so that puts her at minus 10. So I guess it helps her a little bit. It's got stun res, so it puts her into neutral. So that's cool.
That's actually really important for, like, its arena value. Like, getting plus 20 on thunder, like, it's gonna be it's actually pretty easy if you wanted to get her up over. Well, maybe not super easy, but getting her to at least neutral, so they have to have gaze. I don't know about plus 10, that might be a little bit tricky. But then also getting the plus 1 to stun means if you really wanted to, you could just run mistletoe on her with that stone arc like we talked about, and she could just she could be nil to stun against V with this armor without having to spend for stun res. So, like, there's a fair amount of value here for arena specifically.
Yeah, if you get this and then you use the thunder ring, this puts her at plus. Yeah, this puts her at plus 10.
Yeah, so that's enough to get around the basic stuff. It doesn't help you against Rabala, but not many people do that.
Right.
So yeah, that's good. It's not bad. It's not bad. So yeah, the suit would be my pick, assuming she's any amount of good in arena, which I don't really know, but I could imagine she's probably fun at the very least, because she has a lot of really high stocks. So even if you configure her for one skill, like, Spellrender gives you a lot.
I think Tweaks, he attacked me when Meredy came out, and he was just spamming S1. It was pretty funny. It was doing some work, to say the least.
Nice. She seems super fun.
I still stand. I'd rather use OG Meredy than use her in arena for defense. Of course, at least.
Of course you would.
Bro, I'm so upset that she didn't get that skill.
I know.
But whatever, it is what it is.
I had tunnel vision when I saw it, and I was like, oh my god, she got it. She's broken.
Okay. So moving on to the arc, Durando Reborn. The stats pretty nice HP. MP not the greatest. SCR, it's okay. Defense pretty nice. Int, it's okay. And then MND, pretty nice, I guess you could say. As for the traits, each wave gradually cut damage taken, max minus 25%. I don't know. I'm assuming Lake knows. I don't know the time for that to be met. Like, for instance, 40 seconds, 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Yeah. When affected by a status ailment, nullify flinch from regular attacks. This, at first, I thought it was bad. Well, not bad, just like not very usable in most scenarios.
Yeah.
But with the current time trial that's going on, we'll talk about later. I can see how this might be useful, but not really. The
Yeah.
second or the third trait, continuous protection effect. That's cool. Auto protection.
Yeah, I mean that's 7
pretty
SC
nice.
save, and like that's
Yeah.
that's a good continuous effect. So I'm assuming that the gradually cut, that timer is probably the same as Eldravina's strength buff, which I think is like 40 or 60 seconds, something like that, I believe.
Okay.
And then, I mean, the fact that you have to be affected by a status ailment is kind of annoying because it means you need to run something like mistletoe to like force an ailment on yourself, which is just
Pretty
irritating.
sure it's either Aaron or you run mistletoe.
Exactly.
Because I don't think there's anything
True.
else that applies ailments. It's either Aaron or mistletoe.
Yeah.
That's it.
And like you said, it's really, really niche. But to your point, though, like in the current time trial, which we'll obviously get to, but just to touch on it very briefly, like when you have somebody go in on robots right away, they could do the, classic machine gun thing that can stun you for like 2 seconds or whatever while the animation's playing out. That's a regular attack. You could just not care and make sure you're getting all your damage off. So it's niche, but seems good. I like the fact that the damage cut is generic. So, like, that's going to help against magic, physical, special. So, like,
yeah.
So, like, just stat-wise and with that passive, if you're going to be in a long fight, this is just generically something good to throw on somebody if you just want them to live.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few
Right.
of those options, but, yeah, this just adds to options people have, which is cool.
Okay, so moving on to skills, resolve up, pretty cool. Defense in mind, plus 3%. Illness resist, we got that. Defense down evasion, chance to nullify defense down debuffs inflicted by enemies' active skills. I believe this is only on Shift Gorm, right?
Yes, that is accurate. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Tweaks just called out that apparently maxing out the effects on this is like Eldravina, but both of them are 300 seconds, so it's a lot.
What?
Yeah.
What
5
the fuck?
minutes to get to max.
Holy. Okay, all right. Well then.
That's a little rough. So again, really, I guess you could use it against Zlorg. Have fun.
Oh no, that.
Yeah, so that's a little rough. A little bit yikes overall, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Back
So
to
this
defense down.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Shift Gorm is the only one that has this. I think it's cool in theory, but I am not a big fan of RNG, and the fact that this says chance to nullify defense down debuffs, I don't like it.
Okay, so I am completely opposite, which is
Ooh.
great. So this only costs 4 SC. The main place that I see this working potentially really well is Arena, but also if you happen to be perceptive enough to notice bosses, because sometimes the reason that bosses hit us really hard is because just before a big AoE attack, they might infect your whole team with a defense down. And like it just makes damage calculation go through the roof. Just like when we debuff enemies, it can be really crazy. I don't pay attention that much because we just shoot damage at things. But sometimes I pay
Pew pew.
attention and I'm like, oh shit, I'm worse right now because the boss has debuffed my entire team. This is a 75% chance to avoid
Oh,
that.
really?
It's huge for 4
Oh.
SC. So when we're talking on, like, say, defense, or even when you're on offense going against the spell render team, if somebody's running like Theo that potentially cuts your defense by, 50% for the first 10 seconds? Like,
Yeah.
Does this apply to it though?
it's a basic debuff, right?
But
If
it's
it's active
enemies'
skills.
active skills though.
Yeah, it's an active
Oh,
skill.
it's
like,
only
maybe,
active skills?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
Kraken.
Active
I think
skills.
Kraken debuffs you in the middle of the fight with
Yeah.
the waterfall. So I think that would apply to it.
I got you.
but
So
that's not-
so it's
that's
more
when that'll
okay.
start.
So it's definitively like a PvE thing. I
Right.
do still think that it's probably really good for PvE. Then I was excited because I thought it would be a really good way to protect against Theo. So that's kind of sad to hear that wouldn't be the case because I think you're right. Fast skills usually don't count as active, but. For the value, like when you know a boss is debuffing you, I think this is a really sweet auto include, like for when you're building a team comp against a boss that does that.
I had no idea it was 75%. That changes everything. Because normally when it says chance,
It's
it's
like
like
20%.
what? 20%? Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I assumed it was bad. But the fact that it's 75, that's
It's a
really
lot.
good.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
lot.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, indeed. So, yeah, pretty good. I like this skill a lot, being able to hand it out to people, so.
So moving on, Machine Geyser, magical attacks are effective against machines. First time we see it. Really nice. I think maybe for the current time trial, if you have a mage and you're just struggling to do damage against the machines, Machine Geyser would definitely help you out. I know Zero, I think you mentioned that you were going to use this in Arena.
Probably, yeah. So Shift Eliza is already really nasty, as is Maja. But like Maja already has Human Slayer that's like helping his damage. She has Beast Geyser, which doesn't usually do much in Arena, so her damage is just kind of just flat out really good. So now we have Machine Geyser available to us to help with all the robots that we're fighting. And we also have Sorcerer Geyser on the Valentine's arc that we should probably cover directly after this. So, yeah, there's a lot of extra potential to just like instantly nuke people even faster than you already are. So I'm probably going to try running them and see how they go. Yeah, so it's good to see. It's a nice tool. I like it. Very cool. And another thing to call out is Shift Eliza, in my opinion, is already like the easiest unit to help carry you through the mother fight. But if somebody happens to have her and just doesn't have all the tools to like jack up her damage even further beyond, and you happen to get this arc, just throwing this on her will probably have you cap if you weren't already capping against all the robots in the mother fight. So, yeah.
I like how we're slowly getting more geysers. I think it's really cool. Much like how, physical DPS, I'm pretty sure has had all the slayers for a long time now, and then we're just like slowly catching up to magic geysers. So I think it's cool that what was it? Ardine's arc had stone geyser, right?
Did it? Okay, cool. I'm gonna be excited to get that one eventually.
I'm pretty sure it had stone geyser.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Needless to say, I'm excited that we are now getting more access to all these geysers. So it's pretty cool.
Agreed.
So moving on, high protection, 6 SC, physical damage inflicted on a single ally, minus 35%. That's cool, I guess. It would have been cool if it was, I don't know, grand high protection. That would have been sick. But high protection nonetheless, still pretty good. Just because of the physical damage, minus 35%. But at that point, if you happen to have the Trials of Mana arc fast high protection, just for the sake of Arena, you definitely would run that as opposed to trying to rely on like a support trying to cast this on an ally.
Yep.
And then we have Auto Fort, 7 SC continuous fort effect. I don't think that this is necessarily bad. I don't think me personally, I've never ran into a situation where, hey, I need, fast fort or, auto fort. But it's cool that we have access to auto fort. I don't know where you guys stand on that.
Yeah. I mean, if I just want to run like a general sustain package, I think we talked about it before, but just like fast fort and fast metis and dusk and basic proud force and a little bit of crit, like all that sort of stuff usually works really well. You could, if you're in a longer fight, being able to have access to auto fort could be nice, just because raising up your base defense, especially on your physical damage dealers that have decent defense anyway, can help you to survive those boss ults and stuff. I won't use it on everybody, but it's appropriately priced. It's the same as auto protect. And this is our only source of it. It's another one of those that's otherwise only exclusive to Shift Gorm, so...
Right. So overall,
cool.
The skills I like. Defense down evasion now I like, just because of the chance percentage. Beforehand I didn't like it at all, but now, I like it. It's pretty cool.
Pretty nice.
Machine Geyser, very nice. So moving on to the arc, or the arc ether reward, Palm Calculometer. I'm assuming that's how you say it. Machine equipped, movement speed up, skill damage plus 10%. So this is basically Myth or Relief, but with machines.
Yep, precisely. And then you get some int instead of some HP.
That's essentially it. There's nothing else to mention.
Yeah, which, I mean, Mithril Relief is one that we usually recommend, and considering a lot of people like running Trishula, it's a nice thing. You could run both of them,
Yeah.
It's great. I think this is absolutely a great ether reward.
Do we know the movement speed on this thing? Tweaks? If
It
is
is
here?
plus
I'm
one.
assuming.
It's plus one. It
Oh,
is
it's plus one?
It is
Oh,
Mithril Relief.
okay.
Yep.
I
Same
got
thing.
you. All right. Cool. All right. So yeah, Mythic Relief, but for machines. Very nice. I dig it.
Me too.
Okay, so you mentioned the Valentine's arc. If you guys don't know already, you can do the Obviously, I don't have the missions pulled up just because I've already done it, but the challenge missions are very simple. You can do these with ease, and then once you are done doing them, you get the exclusive Valentine's arc, which is the Valentine's Night. Uh, so the stat-wise, HP, pretty cool. I like it. 3400 MP. I think it stands. I think it has reason to be this high, just because the where's it at? The Maiden's Lovely Banquet is also has a very high MP stat. So I guess it kind of makes sense that this is also almost up there. Actually, I want to see. I'm gonna extend it just for the sake of the video or the stream. What is it? Plus 195. Okay, so it goes higher. I'm not gonna use all of them, but HP and MP, it's pretty nice. The other stats, they're okay, I guess you could say. The traits, when HP is restored by an active skill, HP recovery plus 30%. So if you get healed, you get 30% more heal. Male defense and mind plus 10%. Female SCR and int plus 10%. Battle end, when at least one ale skill is set, recover special gauge 5%. So Ale of Victory, Ale of Honor, Ale of Glory. If you have all three of those, you get 15% more ult gauge at the end of a wave. So I guess
Wait,
I could see this being used.
No, is that how it works? It says when at least one, which I think
at least one.
Which I think just means you have one and you get 5, and like that's the best you can do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I read this completely wrong then.
I think it's much less exciting than you thought it was.
I
could be wrong, but yeah, I'm not too thrilled by the final line.
It stands. Okay, it makes sense now that you mention it. When at least one. Okay. Yeah. All right, I got excited.
I do wish that it said for each ale skill equipped gain 5%. That would be pretty sweet. I could build around that.
I completely read that wrong. My bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, a little bit sad.
So it's got Ale of Victory, Ale of Honor, Ale of Glory. Don't really use these. Ale of Glory just because we have Pirate's Feast. Ale of Honor. Most units that would utilize this come with Archangel's Blessing, which is 30%. But if you wanted more MP for 40%, then you would combine these two. Ale of Victory, I don't really see this being used much. I don't use it personally, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Girls Party, very nice. I like this a lot. So male/other, more likely to be targeted by enemies. Female, less likely to be targeted by enemies. So for males, this acts as an allure, and then for females, this acts as a reject. I think this is very nice, especially in arena. I like this just because you can manipulate AI.
I love this. I agree completely. And the fact that it's priced exactly the same, it's sitting at 4. Yeah. So like all of your good tanks you are going to want to use, they're male. Majority of like sorcerers and supports and things are female, so like it just makes sense. This is just a really clean skill design, and I love it.
I love it too. It's pretty nice. So Revenge Metis, this is the first time we see it. We've got, I think we've only have Revenge Brave. Do we have Revenge Aura?
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do have Revenge Aura.
I'm pretty positive we do. I can look that up really quick though, but yeah. Continue.
Okay. I think the percent chance on this though is 5%. So it's not very high.
Okay. Yeah, Revenge Aura is on Shrine of Heresy, so that's available. It is 5% chance, but also like if you're taking a bunch of hits of damage, like odds are pretty high that somewhere within 40 seconds you're gonna trigger this. So effectively in my head, like this is kind of just like saying auto metis that's not active right at wave start, but like probably will become active, and it's 1 point cheaper than auto, so it's like if you have room, just run auto. Otherwise it's a way to sort of save 1 point.
Right.
I don't know. The revenge stuff has never been super duper high for me, but
no,
I don't know. It's just fine.
And then the final skill, which I think is my personal favorite, Sorcerer Geyser. Magic attacks are effective against sorcerers. So
Yeah. So, I'm sure with you running Maja, you've noticed that like the only things at all that maybe don't get one shot sometimes is usually the support, like Theria, because their mind is so high. Like if you can throw on Sorcerer Geyser, like it's just gonna help so much. I mean, granted, I guess Maja specifically won't because he already has Human Geyser.
yeah, he's got Human Geyser.
But like for me with Eliza, I'm pretty excited. Nuking her off.
I think
the
it's
face of the
very
planet.
cool.
Yeah, it's super great. The fact that everybody got it for free too, like this just opens up that avenue. Like if you have a somewhat meta mage that you want to be able to take into arena, you can use this and have an extra tool to be able to make that good. So nice. Love that it was free. I'm curious. Ale of Glory, what level does the arc have to be for that?
Let's see, Arc. Oh shit! I have to equip it on the party. I think
Oh,
it's
really?
6.
Oh, that's annoying. Okay,
Hold
6.
on.
Might be 6. I'm just
You
trying
said
to think.
Ale of Glory?
Yeah, Ale of Glory. I'm just trying to think for new players and stuff.
Level 3.
Level
3?
3. Okay. That is really good quality of life for people just coming into the game now. Like if you just came in and Attack on Titan or something. Like Ale of Glory isn't crazy, but a new account isn't probably going to be able to have Pirate Ship, and if they do, getting it to level 10 for Pirate Feast. So being able to hand out Ale of Glory for just like a cheap 10 SET every wave, that's pretty decent. Like getting the thing to level 3, super duper easy for anybody. So, we'll just note that. That's a nice little add. All 3 of those are pretty good for brand new accounts. So it's fine.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Great art, man.
And it's flavorful, getting all the ales and like this cool like club scene. Yeah, it's neat. The art
so
looks good too.
Speaking of the
love
art,
the-
let me see if I can zoom in.
Yeah,
I love the deck
I
road.
don't think it's
let's
gonna let
talk
us.
about the thing.
Oh,
That
oh
girl
baby.
looks so
who
badass.
who is this? Okay, first of all, so Lily far left, very nice.
The
know,
eyes.
Eliza. Yeah, look at the eyes.
I didn't notice the eyes before.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
No?
The eyes
That's
in the
sick, dude.
reflection. Oh, that's so good.
Okay, so we got Eliza, looking all regal and shit. Very nice. We got Meredy. I like her
Gimpy.
outfit.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's good.
We got Lance. I like how Lancefield is just like, he's
Yeah.
always just there, right?
The shake with the shake weight. Let's go.
Right. And we got Theria, of course, and then Lilibet. Girl, what is she trying to make some money on the corner? What is she wearing?
I love how they made Alice like a maid or like a server, but look, hashtag maid. I mean, I don't know.
Then, so the biggest thing, the very
Yes.
right corner, I was like, who is this? I had no idea, right? And then I was like, oh wait,
You see that
I
spear?
know that spear. This is the Grog with no armor.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Holy crap, dude.
I can't wait until we get her shift.
Bro, did you notice how her face was completely blurred out on the mirror on the window?
Mhm.
I'm like,
Dude.
you motherfuckers, man.
So calculated. Like
Yeah,
this game always so calculated with the art.
yeah.
It's man, it makes me so happy.
The Grog shift incoming Saber Gems.
Mhm.
But yeah, so overall artwork, very nice. I'm a big fan of everything that's going on. The biggest thing though is armorless the Grog, no doubt.
Yeah,
I like this.
absolutely. It's great. Love it.
Okay, so the Arc Ether reward, 300 HP, STR 59, Mind 23, Battlestar Autocast Brave and Vitality, and then as no attribute resistance, we've got Illness Resist as the ailment. I don't know. This Arc Ether ward's okay, I guess.
Yeah, it is exceptionally just okay.
It's alright. Yeah, it's
free.
okay.
It's just fine. Like if we just look at like Battlestar Brave and Vitality, like that's 5 SC. Who the fuck
Yeah.
cares? Like I don't care.
That's fine.
Like the stats are fine, but like you want more than that of an accessory usually. So yeah, I don't see myself ever using it.
No.
New accounts like 300 HP, that much strength, and then Brave and Vitality. New account that's actually really really good. So like if somebody new has the foresight enough to like be doing auto farming so that you could get ether up, like I wouldn't be mad at people for putting this on their like first list of ether rewards to get, because like that's a pretty big boon for like a really low level unbuilt character, you know. So I mean that's something that I didn't consider before. For a new account, it's a pretty tasty thing, but majority of new accounts aren't going to be ether farming because they're just not going to quite be smart enough to know to do that unless they're going to like Discord and Reddit or something, you know. So
yeah. So overall, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that covers Meredy. We covered her arc. We covered the Valentine's arc. I guess we can go ahead and move on to the events. Nothing too crazy. We got the trading field. So if you guys, need or want to raise certain units and farm souls for them, you get these daily entries. It's the soft reset, right? This is at 10.
yes, yeah.
10 or my time, Eastern time. This is 10 o'clock in the morning. So you get 5 entries per day. If you happen to do Beast Hunter on the final wave, you can actually steal an extra 10 Mother Souls. So you can get a total of 100 Mother Souls each day if you have a level 10 skill Beast Hunter. So very nice.
It's also worth noting, like, it's not just for souls. Like, you also get a little bit of extra AP, and then you also get a boatload of XP too. I think that like it's basically it's like 150 XP that obviously gets split up if you're running more than one unit. But if you're a featured unit, which there's a small list of like 10 units or something, then it bumps it up to 300k. So yeah, that's what 1.5 million a day XP, if my math is right. Quick math. If you're featured, yeah, I think that's right.
Easy math.
Yeah. So yeah, go do it.
Yeah, it's very nice. We get part 2. Does this have part 2?
No.
Yeah, part
right?
30.
No.
Wait,
No.
are we on? Wait, are we talking about Meredy event?
Yeah, the shift Meredy, yes, not the OG one. I was thinking the
okay.
OG one had it. Yeah.
The OG one is just it's there.
Yeah, it's all there.
Which we didn't.
So
we didn't talk about it at all. So without spending too much time on it, to me, it's not that bad to go through and get the points on this if you have units that give you modifying bonuses, which is like Tink, Claire, and Meredy are probably the biggest ones. Just because you do get a Meredy prism at the end, which is something. So like I went through and did it, but as soon as I got that prism, I went out and did other stuff. So just saying, if you want to do it, I don't think the rewards are that crazy, but I do always like chasing prisms, so that'd be a reason to go after it.
It's a free dupe.
Yep.
So the Q Innovation event, it's similar to Dr. Stone in the event that, we have stages that we can do, and then you farm materials, which then you craft into other materials, which then you craft for the gear that they have in the shop. I don't think there's anything too crazy, right?
Not necessarily. There's some cool tools though. Like the Machina Searcher isn't bad. It's basically a 25% chance to avoid 25% of defense, which like in arena could be good for spike damage. And like stat wise, it's not too bad either. So for an accessory, it could be pretty decent. It just piercing effects kind of get screwed if people were around for the Stone event, because you could just run Stone World on all your tanks.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a little bit of a trade-off. But in general, like, that's a pretty nice little piece of gear.
It's a very cute icon. I like it.
Yeah, I definitely like the art. That's pretty great. I don't remember if it was from this specific thing, but in weapons, the Gain Arm is a machine. Another decent free-to-play option for our Dean, I noticed.
If I could quickly... Yeah, here it is.
So it's neutral element and just gives a flat plus 8% to skill damage, which is just not bad, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a machine, so it fulfills that for people that need machine stuff, so not too bad.
I think it gave us, like, more pieces of armor than it did weapons. If I could quickly find the armor.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
here
there's
it is.
gain
Okay.
suit. Oh yeah, you found it.
Gain suit. So physical attack damage plus 4%, physical attack damage taken minus 4%. Not the hugest of
Yeah.
positives and negatives or whatever, but it also comes with stun res. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
200 HP, defense 139, and then mind 80. So overall, not a bad piece to have, I guess
Yeah.
you could say.
It's good new player armor in my opinion.
Yeah, new player friendly, yes.
Yeah.
And then we also had the Golem Armor. When on ground, physical damage taken minus 10%. I think this is my most favorite thing of the the things that we can craft, because this is essentially Steely Intent. If you guys don't know that, that's from the songstress arc from the Nier collab. Beautiful songstress. Steely Intent. When on the ground, physical damage taken minus 10%. So if you're using this in arena, for the first 10 seconds, you're flinch resistant. So this will definitely be active during those 10 seconds. But also, when you're guarding, you're on the ground. So an additional minus 10% physical damage you take. So I think this is really great, to be honest.
I agree. Again, I do think that it's more for like probably for like new and mid game accounts, because like if you've been around for a long time and you've been able to Godforge stuff, like there are at minimum 2 pieces of armor that are unconditionally way better than this. But
Right.
for people that haven't been able to Godforge that sort of stuff, this is a really sick piece of armor to just be able to craft for free. So yeah, I'm on board. It's nice.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that we could craft in here?
Yeah, there was an accessory that was like boots or something. I don't remember. I remember seeing it and being like, "Oh, that's not bad." Golem Master boots.
Golem Master
Yeah,
boots.
what's that
Let's go
doing?
over that.
I don't remember.
Accessory. Oh, here it is.
Way at the top. Okay. Just
defense plus
Okay.
5%.
So I think I remember seeing this and I was like, I will easily throw this on Gorm. Gives you a flat plus 60 that'll scale with all the other defense ups, raise the defense even further, and all that gets inherited by your guarded person.
Mm-hmm.
That might be pretty good.
Really?
I don't know.
You
Might
think
be. I mean, I guess the big question is like, does this sit outside of all the normal damage calculation, or like the calculation for your stats? Like after all of your innate skills and stuff take effect, is this 5% on top of whatever is on your unit screen? Because like that could be pretty decently sizable, but either way, it's definitely not bad. I'm sure there's much better options for most people out there, but it's not a bad price,
Right.
Considering how bad a lot of free stuff is that we get. I could see myself maybe putting it in a build once. And it has 10 Thunder Resist, which, okay.
You heard it here first.
Again, 10 Thunder Resist helps Gorm. Just saying.
Yeah, you get a point.
Some people have been asking me this week, where to get like the best armor and what armors to get, or where can I find some of the best armor. And I'm actually telling them, like, it's kind of interesting that I'm telling them, go to the events. There's actually great weapons in the events, man. The Attack on Titan had really good weapons, and this one has really good weapons and armor. I was telling them that if you're not doing Godforge yet, then events are gonna be where it's at. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they're getting better, so kudos to them for that.
Yeah, there's like ether rewards kind of, but there's not really a ton. Like the base gold armor from Gold War that turns into God of Gold eventually. That by itself is a pretty good piece of armor. Yeah. And then also the one from Abandoned City of the Sea is also pretty good to throw on a tank. It does give you it's got some weird stuff because you've got negatives to like thunder damage and you get like weakness to stun and stuff. But the stats on it are really good, and you gain other resistances and other you gain a bunch of like ice and fire resist too. So like it's a pretty good piece of armor to get.
Yeah, and I did say AERs, but as a new player, even going into mid, it's still like grinding AER is like kind of difficult for them.
It's daunting.
So that's why I kind of pointed toward like the events and stuff. And after like this week and all the stuff that we got, I was like, man, they're just getting better. I can't wait to see what the next event has as far as weapons. Huh?
Go ahead, continue.
And you obviously hinted that you could use one with Ardeen, which is really cool too. I'm glad we're getting more non-attribute stuff for like other other units. I definitely want to see more Earth stuff because I'm lacking it. The only Earth stuff I have is Godforge. So a lot of people are trying to build Levi, and it's kind of like, oh, if you didn't get the New Year's weapon, or or you have to do the AER and then Godforge that.
Yeah. So here's the thing with Levi though, is like he has a lot of just generic physical damage bonuses, which means like even running neutral is really good. So you could just do like Pure Blade and something else, and like you're probably doing pretty all right. Like Pure Blade and Refia is a pretty obvious one, or Refaria if you have a Godforged.
That's what I'm running right now.
Yeah, that's usually what I'm on, or I'll run Trish if things are just really resistant. So I just swap between Refaria and Trish depending on what I'm fighting. And like he seems pretty solid overall.
Oh, he's so solid.
Plus, I don't usually need to abuse Honey Elixir because usually if I get through like 3S3s, things are dead. So it's kind of like Lug. Like you probably don't really need his Goddess Kiss to be good because things should just be dead by the time he uses it. Yeah, you know. So
I'm having an absolute blast with him right now, man. He's so much fun.
Yeah, I like it.
The last thing is the auto battle. Time trial. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I think though, as per usual podcast, I'm gonna go ahead and visit the little men's restroom. So if you guys want to give your thoughts on that.
So I'm curious. Do you want us to talk about strategies and stuff, or should we just talk about our general feelings on things? Because I know some people are wanting to be like kind of hush hush until time trials are over. It's still an active thing.
Over, right? So there is a video from Jawline that gives you hints on how to perform on auto. So guys, if you are interested, check that out if you want to learn.
There's a link to his channel in the description below. So he put out a video on that and
put a lot of work into it too. So show him some love. Yeah. But overall, I have tried it twice. I was telling Jawline before you actually came back from whatever you were doing earlier that I was doing it at work because I've been working a lot this week. I haven't been able to do much content or anything, but it's over now. Back to the grind. So I've actually got 2 tries at it, and the first try I picked 3 random people, and then kind of just let it auto and see what would happen because I want to see what happens. I don't know who I was gonna fight, and I ended up winning, dropping only 1 character, and about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I was like, oh. Well, maybe I'm gonna try a little harder this time, but it's actually a lot of fun. It's weird that it automatically just autos. At first, I was pressing the buttons like, oh wait, it does it by itself. I like it. I really do. I feel like we don't understand. A lot of people, including myself, do not understand the AI yet, and this has given us an opportunity to learn. So I love it. I really do.
Yeah,
if you watch my video, you would understand.
Yeah,
I already got you, Jawline.
We already shouted it out. You, bro. Stop it.
Oh shit.
There's this thing.
Kiss my ass.
There's this thing that I would try. It's called being humble. So like, shut up. Anyway, it is a good video though. Like we won't lie about that. Anyway. I have multiple layers to my feelings on this event in general. It overall leans to the positive. Like in general, I really like that they took the risk on it. Like clearly we knew lots of people in the community were going to bitch about it because the AI very good.
Every time trial, there's always complaints. There is no pleasing everybody, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
There's been a very appropriate amount of it though, and I've been able to laugh about it, which is what I predicted, and I'm glad that the community didn't disappoint. So I was able to go onto Reddit and see plenty of people being like, last Cloudia AI is dog shit. It's like, well, did you maybe try a little though? Like,
I put the skill on it's supposed to work.
But yeah, like people aren't completely wrong. Like there are some issues with the AI. We've all known this for a long time. Obviously we have some AI configuration in Arena, which is just as simple as, hey, do a thing. If it's available, force the unit to do that thing. I'd really like there to be some comprehensive AI tuning eventually somewhere in Last Claudia's future where we could program like maybe 3 layers of like triggers and actions to like every unit. I think that would be really great. But for right now, I think the fact that they forced this into auto, one, it removes like this sort of artificial skill gap of like, hey, you have to be super duper good at playing the game and like knowing all of the different ways to min-max your stuff. It's all about build, And the fact that it's all about build also means that it's a bit more casual for people to do testing. So for me, it's kind of nice that I can go in, I can tinker with my team, figure out, okay, well, maybe this is going to help my AI a little bit. Maybe this is going to help the timing on this particular run. I can click play and then just sort of watch it while I'm doing stuff because it's just auto playing. Instead of old time trials where it's like, okay, if I'm going to do time trials, I need like 2 hours of dedicated time because like every single run is like 5 to 15 minutes of like dedicated, hardcore, focused game time. You know?
Right.
So it's a little bit more casual and, you know, available to people, I guess, in that regard. The thing that can be frustrating for people, understandably, is like the AI has so much RNG to it, it's kind of annoying, especially when it comes to like mages, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So like the big thing I've noticed with mages is like, we've talked about in the past, like if things are weak to an element, it'll see that weakness and then see if you have something in your spell list to correspond with that weakness, then it'll use it. So if you can have somebody weak to your stuff, then you're good. It's just going to cast it. If they're not weak, though, it seems like there's some sort of a timed trigger where it will check resistances, say there's nothing weak, and then it will say, okay, well, of the things that are resisted, do I have spells in my spell list that I could use? Okay. Then let's roll a random die to see what type of element we're going to cast against. If we don't have it, we're not going to use it. Or if we just choose to have that die land on don't cast a spell at all, cool, we're just not going to cast a spell. And you can just have your spellcaster sit there for 20 seconds doing dick all. Like, just, I'm going to throw some auto attacks. That's what we're doing, you know? And it's frustrating. So trying to make things be consistent from that point of view is kind of rough. I do think physical damage dealers are a bit easier to manipulate, which is really good.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, like, between skill stocks and things, you can say pretty definitively, like, oh, if I have 3 S1s, 2 S2s, and 1 S3, every time my unit is going to prioritize this thing within that, like, specific circumstance and, like, how many max skill stocks you have. Like, you can manipulate that sort of stuff, which is really great. But for mages, there's a lot more RNG to it, which makes things a little bit tricky, especially because mages seem to be pretty OP in this one. So, I will say, to the benefit of mages, when the AI isn't complete garbage, it seems like AI for mages is much more responsive than physical damage dealers. So, like, whenever you use a skill with a physical DPS, they'll end it, and then there's about a second delay before they'll use the next skill, which is just annoying to watch. You're like, just do the thing. Whereas mages
just spam it, come on.
Yeah, whereas like mages, when they decide to use a spell, they're just going to use it right away. So like they'll often have a spell queued up, if they're smart enough, in the middle of their other one animating. Or they'll go and be like, oh hey, there's non-stackable magic on the board right now, I'm ready to cast another spell, I'm deciding to cast one, and I have something available that's not stacking. Okay, cool, then I'll use one of my stackable magics instead. You know? So, like, the AI seems a little bit more reliable on mages as far as using things, but if things aren't weak to you, then it's hard to say the least.
So one thing Corn Muffin says, that retry button is pretty great quality of life, though, especially when you know the AI has screwed up on otherwise good runs. Yes, the retry button is definitely a very good quality of life instead of having, you know, to quit out and then go back into the fight. I think they knew what this time trial was going to entail, so they included the retry button, which I'm a big fan of, very appreciative of that, because especially the way I'm trying to do the time trials, it's very RNG heavy, so the fact that I can just retry is a godsend. So it's very nice to have.
So, you know what would be really nice as well? If I realized that before you noted it in Discord earlier today.
What the fuck? What?
I didn't realize it was a thing. I've gotten so used to, like, when I want a soft reset, and I'll just, like, quit app and come back in.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just so much quicker. So, like, I never even bothered to go in and, like, actually quit out of a thing. I'm just like, okay, we'll just restart app, we'll do the thing. And, like, that's just always been my standard of, like, restarting my time trials and stuff. So I didn't even realize until you called it out earlier today. So, yeah, I think that sounds really great. I'm glad. I really love when they just sneak in quality of life things like that.
You know, I can't really poke fun at you because I didn't know that you could cancel magic casting spells. So for like the longest time, like I was just focused on my units, right? And then I didn't hover over my spellcasters. So I just assumed that I couldn't cancel their spells, but you actually can. And that may not seem like a big deal, but if you want to time, certain spells to go off or like certain spells to go off at that like this very precise point, canceling magic is actually a very strong thing to utilize. And I kind of want to go back on what you said about like people having complaints about this time trial. Yes, everyone is going to complain no matter what, so there's no point in trying to please everybody. But I do think that this kind of puts everybody on a somewhat level field, just because of the fact that, like, let's say for instance, DK doesn't have Glukio or Gwar, and I happen to have Glukio and Gwar, and it's a regular time trial. Like, I already have the advantage just because I have those units, and I guess you could say the same with this, but it's a matter of like the AI has obviously more control than we do. So there's like a even playground in that sense. So
Yeah.
that's why I like this time trial, and it also forces you to have a better understanding of like the AI. So I think it's pretty cool. I like
Yeah.
it. I mean, the RNG is pretty fucking annoying. I'm not gonna lie, but I think the auto battle time trial as a whole is pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, I like it as well. To speak to your sort of evening the playing field, I agree. But it also pronounces like if you're missing things that feel like they'd be really key, you notice it more than you normally would. So like that's
Right.
kind of where I'm at, where I'm playing with the things and seeing my options, and I can see how having specific things would make things much better, and it feels very hard to hit top 10 without a specific set of things. And I have a feeling that once this all shakes out, and like once we have top 10 for like global and JP, I have a feeling that the units being used, the rosters, are probably going to be pretty similar, more similar than normal time trials for top 10.
Right. Right.
I don't know if that'll for sure be the case, but I have a gut feeling that's probably what we're going to be looking at. Is the top 10 probably consists of very similar strategies,
So,
and therefore team comps.
speaking of top 10, shout outs to Buddha. He came out of nowhere just to be number one.
Yeah.
I've never seen him on a time trial, and then he just comes
I
out as
know.
number one.
Yeah.
Um,
I was talking about this a little bit earlier. I believe that I've heard him say in the past that like the reason that he didn't care too much about time trials before is like the fact that it's like the focused play, and like you need to make sure that you're executing your exact plan perfectly every single time, and that's just like not like his pace. Like that's not what he wants to do. Whereas this
Right.
one is all about just the tinkering. You get the build set up, you let it go, and it's just you just need the right setup. So like I have a feeling he just got into this one a bit more than past ones. So like that's another good reason to be excited about this event. Like there's got to be much more people than just Buddha with like that type of mindset, and like this has to be encouraging for them. Of like you don't have to necessarily like want to do precise timing on all these sorts of things, but just have your theory crafting good enough, and then like this is a place you could thrive if you can do that. So yeah, it's a different way to think, which is great.
Kudos. If he makes a video, I'm very okay. So the thing with time trials is obviously, it really shows if you have certain units or not, and certain arcs or not, because of the skills that are on the arcs. But with that being said, I'm most excited about time trials just because of the fact that I feel like in time trials I learn more than I do with like the entirety of LC leading up to time trials.
Yeah.
Just because not only I want to say mainly from JP, just because JP is like 200 IQ, but obviously Tweaks is very good at time trials, and then Buddha he's number one, so I'm excited to see what he did. So back to what I was saying, I'm very excited about time trials just because I feel like I can learn more there than I have in like the most recent times. So that's the main reason that I'm excited about time trials, just because I feel like I can learn more new things, whether it's like utilizing this arc or utilizing certain spells or stuff like that. So that's where I stand on time trials.
I agree. Buddha says in chat he just gave his account to Tweaks.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Makes sense.
I wasn't gonna say it, but No, I don't believe it. My first reaction, though, Buddha, I'm not gonna lie, was like, is Tweaks giving you some hot tips? Because I feel like Tweaks
I'm
might
not
be
gonna
giving you
lie.
some hot tips.
Yep,
But
that was my
yeah.
first thought too. I ain't even gonna front.
But regardless, I think even if you have all the right like tactics, like somebody could tell you how to do things, the fact of like going through and getting your runs just right with the amount of RNG required to do things, like I don't think it even matters, even if that would be the case. So yeah, congrats, Buddha. I was very impressed. So
Me too. Me
super
too. Very
cool.
impressed.
And very excited to see you up on the top. So good job, man. Kudos to you.
What about you, DK? I haven't heard about you talk about the time trials.
Oh, you were taking a
He
poo.
moves away.
Yeah, you're right. Well, go ahead. Just quickly reiterate.
TLDR, he's a filthy casual.
Come on.
All right, moving
Oh,
on.
okay. All right. Moving on.
Wait,
So fuck
damn.
'em.
Oh shit. Ah, damn. No, I like him, man. No. I haven't got a chance to try it yet. I've only, like I said, I was explaining to him that I only tried once or twice, and one of them was I was at work when I was doing it, and somebody walked in, so I like threw my phone and just kind of like let it play out, and I came back and it had won already. I think the first try was 30 minutes unattended. So yeah, I'm excited to try it out. Kind of, see what. I'm probably gonna watch a little bit of your video, Jaw, kind of get better at it. Why no videos in the last 3 days?
I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so Buddha has 114. I have 119. If I have the perfect, and I'm talking the perfect RNG, maybe I could get 115. I don't think I can beat Buddha just because the way I'm doing it, my strat again is just like heavily RNG. So I just don't think I can reach 114.
I don't
maybe
have Mazda
118.
either.
Oh, you don't have Maja? Oh, damn. GG.
So
Don't even try.
I lose a lot of time there too. I know how to do it. I don't have the units to do it. I could probably get maybe, I want to say maybe 130, high 130s. It's probably my best time if I really try. But I think Maja throwing out so much extra damage. I mean, the hardest magic hitter that I have would maybe use Angela, but still Angela versus Maja, I'm still losing like 50% more damage or something more than that. So I don't know.
Cool.
I'm gonna still try it though. But
So
yeah,
speaking of Maja dipping out good damage, Tweaks just said in the chat that the only advice he gave to Buddha was that he's using 3 physical DPS.
Interesting.
Yeah, which I've debated on as
I
an
debated
option as
too.
well. I've also explored a lot of mage options. I found in general that like Maja was fine, but he was always lacking. He's always lacking somewhere. Like I could run X-Radia, and then like AI will always clear machines relatively quick, but not crazy quick enough. And that's without ultimate casting. But if you put on ultimate casting, he helps in other areas, not so much on the machine clearing.
Right, yeah.
I tried.
I mean, that's all I have is physical, so maybe it might work out for me because all the ones that I've seen are Majas. So yeah. I'm just going off of what I see so far. So basically my only route is physical damage.
Yeah. Another mage that I tried other than Shift Eliza, who is fine, but RNG on casting it can be a problem since not many things are weak to fire, unfortunately. But I also tried Sheeta, and Sheeta worked reasonably well. I tried using some of the stone stuff, so I use like generator and gunpowder just for the increased cast speed and like relatively good AoEs. So like he did fine as well, but ultimately I ended up having still random RNG issues, and he just I gained speed in some areas and then lost it in others, and it wasn't quite good enough. So I'm gonna keep playing though, and hope that I can do something. Right now, it feels like my roster available to me isn't likely going to allow me to hit top 10, but I'm gonna keep trying anyway. We'll see what we can do. So
so you say roster, and I'm gonna be honest, I feel like maybe Levi has something to do with it. This is kind of like my downfall in like not going for collab units or just going for certain units in general. But now that Tweak says I'm using 3 PDPS, maybe I'll start using a different strat, because again, my strat currently is just very RNG heavy. So I might switch it up, see what happens.
Yeah, mine has Levi in it for sure.
Yeah. So I'm
Right.
curious, what's your feelings, Jaw, on talking about current findings and strats and things? Do you want to wait until like after time trials is over, or do we want to talk about some things
No, I mean,
publicly?
I don't really mind because like one thing is like sharing a strat, and then one thing is like, hey, like another person could have the potential to capitalize on this. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really. I would just point out things that I've noticed, and then if you know if people like get some benefit out of it, cool. If not, that's all right.
Yeah.
So the things that I've noticed is wave one. If you're using Maja, then he's definitely going to be able to clear. But like, okay, so I save wave one, and I know there's like two waves, right? Technically, but I really count those as parts, just because there's like tons of waves leading up to like quote unquote wave two. But so wave one of the robots, if you're using Maja, if you use Radia, then he's going to be able to clear. But one thing that I did notice on the wave two of the robots is that they, for some reason, they're like super weak. So even if Maja doesn't have his ultimate casting and he does Radia, he's able to clear them. So that was very interesting that I noticed. With the Golem core, so the thing with that is I tried to build for breaking it as fast as I could, as hard as I could. It didn't quite work out. So the thing with that is the core takes 1 damage. So what's the best thing to do, or to go around that is just have a higher hit count. So the more hits you do, the more you'll be able to lower its HP. Now, with that being said, is not all skills hit that core. For example, Baron. I tried to use Baron. His S1 and S2 do not hit the core. His S3, they do hit the core. So units that have, hit boxes that are like very high, they'll do well against the Golem core just because they can actually hit the Golem core. And then, so that's the thing. Just hit the Golem core with as many hits as you can, and then the robot waves after the Golem core, they are very tanky. So you kind of need to dish out some DPS. If it's not physical DPS, then Maja needs to have ultimate casting in order to clear it. So that's the wave one, and then wave two after Naglfar. The creature, personally, that's my biggest time sink. I'm still struggling to clear that pretty fast, but essentially you just DPS it down as quick as you can. So wave two with Claire and then Meredy. Again, if you have Maja, cool. Stone Geyser and then Human Geyser, that puts you at an advantage drastically. If you don't have that, then I honestly don't know, just because I haven't used physical DPS. One of my units, I'll admit, is Maja. So there's that. I don't know if you guys have found anything else.
No, like I said, I haven't even tried yet. Really, haven't put.
I mean, in general, I found, like you said, oh hey, not all skills will hit the core. I would say majority of skills don't hit the core. At least as far as like the things AI are usually going to prioritize in that portion of the fight, in my experience, is S1s and S2s, and there's not many units that can really utilize that. Levi, his S1 and S3 don't do it, but I did find his S2 at least does. So like that's something. Far as I know,
Really, his S3 doesn't do it?
His S3 doesn't do it. No, it doesn't get high enough. No.
Wow.
His S2 will though, which is weird because it feels really like low and focused.
Yeah, it feels very horizontal. Okay,
yeah, but
that's
no.
interesting.
So I have him frequently waste S3s doing basically nothing to Naglfar, like almost to the point of thinking like, you know what, maybe it's better to just kill him instead of killing the core, like because like he can cap. He can do good damage against him. If I have Levi going, like I could have him to like a quarter, maybe even not to a quarter, like 75% health, maybe a bit less, just off straight damage before the core goes down, if that's like the comp that I happen to have. So like if I went all in trying to kill Naglfar, like maybe I could do that, but I don't think it would be quicker than the core. I assume like from what I've seen, Shift Lilibet, her S1 is crazy good, I'd imagine, for that. Decent hit count and like does the arrow rain, which means like that should definitely hit the core. So that'd be pretty sweet. I found on my roster, Lukiel seems to be about the only answer. I've tried a bunch of different people with auto attack stuff, but Lukiel is usually on either S1 or auto attacks. So I even gave her like double and triple impact. So like when she's alternating between S1s and autos, she's doing pretty good damage. So she does a really good job against the core compared to everybody else I've tried, along with magic and such. But yeah. There's just not a lot of units that really do super well with their S1s or S2s against Neglifar. So that's one of the cases where I said that like your roster limitations could potentially be a thing, because Shift Bet seems pretty good. Lug, I'm pretty sure, is S2 and S3. I've heard both work on the core, not S1, but hopefully you can get around that in particular. But I'd imagine if you could get an S3 off against Neglifar and that's hitting the core, it's probably going to do pretty good, especially if you're running like a crit build to use some pursuit attacks too. That could be a thing.
Wait, is it only 3 waves?
What do you mean 3 waves?
How long is the trial?
The overall trial is two waves technically.
2 waves. Oh, really?
Yeah, you
Wow.
you have a really long first wave, and then you go against Claire and Meredy wave 2.
Oh.
You can clear phase 2 really, really quick if you have good magic damage.
Interesting.
Or just really good physical damage.
Okay.
So I did notice in the second part, Claire has really heavy on guard. So like Levi did work really well for me there, just like breaking guard. Being able to dish out damage seemed pretty solid there. In addition to Lukiel, I found that some of her annoying AI is like, if she has her ult charged, right when a robot wave ends and there's no enemies on the board, she's going to use her ultimate, which is really annoying. So you basically need to like force her, like basically delay her ult long enough to get to where you want her to use it, which would be like maybe the creature, if that's the tech.
Right.
Like that's like what I was going for, is to save time on creature. She could potentially double ult with Gwar or something. Something else that I noticed is magic. I don't know if it's all magic, but Exradia for sure will charge the ult of whatever unit you're currently using. So like really, really heavily, like OG bet style ult charge. Like it's really, really fast. So I needed to intentionally like not be on Lukiel, because I don't want her ult to charge super fast, and then just be to like 95% when I get to creature. And just weird crap like that, to just play with stuff.
Yeah. So this time trial is very, very interesting. And now that I heard that 3 physical DPS is a thing, I might try that.
Yeah, maybe. Tweak says, what are we doing, giving away all the strats? Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, we're okay with sharing our findings. I asked John, he's like, yeah, it might help some people.
I mean, if people can find help in these podcasts, then I'm all for it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a ranking. It's not that huge of a deal. If people are able to learn more, cool. I'm all for it.
Yeah. And if you want to give back, come hit us up in Discord. Come tell us your findings. Drop some stuff in the comments. It's gonna be fun. I know things were a little bit more hush hush. We talked about it like the last time trials. We waited till after talk about strats and stuff. But I think it's all right. I think it's fun anyway. It's an enjoyable thing for the community to do. So I'm excited to see what other people can do. And the more knowledge that we share publicly, I think the more opportunity there is for other people to go in and be trying things and like thinking they have more of a chance, and then maybe discovering something that we didn't think about. So go explore, try some stuff, try janky shit. Something else that is interesting that even got me to just look at different units is like, you noted that you can cast cancel, like that you can cancel whatever your casting is. You can also use summons. So like I looked at, if all of your other units are doing stuff, you could run like Summoner Lena to make sure that like you could get a summon so that you could use the Lugmechia summon in order to charge an ult if you needed an extra ult usage or something potentially. So like you could use a summon, and that's one of the things you could do. So maybe somebody could find something interesting with that. I haven't, but could be a thing.
The summons. I actually thought about using. I haven't tried it, but I thought about using it. I don't think it would work very well, but
Yeah, I think that
it's there.
Yeah, I think that if you're on a top time, you probably don't get it. Best case, you might get it for the final wave, probably.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I found on my times, which I'm only hitting like 140s to 150s on like my best times right now. But
Cool.
I'm usually getting my summon by like creature wave, I think. So yeah, probably
really?
probably about 1 minute.
Oh
I think.
yeah. Okay.
But either way, if you use it on the creature and you're only hitting one target, it's not going to charge your ult too much anyway.
No.
So it's one extra little boost, which just isn't crazy. So,
Yeah.
but
So I think us quote unquote sharing our strats or whatever our findings. I think it's good just because it like entices people to do time trials more. I don't like I'm a big fan. Like if more people are try harding and like are trying to push time trials, and that makes it fun for me in the sense of like, hey, I have to try to do my best and whatnot. So I don't really think there's anything wrong with sharing our quote unquote strats.
yeah. And
So, yeah.
it's also worth noting, like, if we can encourage like some more people to like go into it and like get better rankings and like be more competitive, like Ada sees all these numbers too. So like if they
Right.
see time trials being more popular and like more of the communities engaging with it, maybe we'll see more than like 2 or 3 a year,
Yeah.
Because like time trials aren't super common. They're not. Like
No.
we what expect them maybe once every like 3 months now, probably.
Something like that. Yeah.
So, it'd be nice if we could get those a little bit more frequently because I think they're the most end game PvE content that we have, and I think it's like really the time for us to test, like how good you really are, and like how worthwhile having an expanded roster that you've built up all these weird niche units and stuff can be.
Yeah.
So-
Like I mean, I understand. I guess I understand what Tweaks was asking by like just giving away strats. Like I understand. Like part of it
It's
is
early. We
like
could have done this next week. After
Yeah,
it's
we
over.
could have done this
very
next-
easily,
but- what I'm trying to say is I understand his point as in like, hey, well, why are you pretty much helping people instead of letting them figure things out on their own, And then, but with like that being said too, it's like, well, if I help out people to a certain extent, then maybe they're more likely to do the time trials and just because a lot of people complain about time trials, but if they have like a little bit of help, then maybe they're more inclined to do it, and maybe they won't complain about it, and they'll be like, hey, I have this info, maybe I can utilize it in my favor and try to get a better time. If it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work, but if it does, then cool, now I have a reason to do time trials because I have a little bit of more info.
Yeah. I think worst case, maybe it makes top 100 slightly more competitive. Like that's pretty much it. Like the people
Yeah.
that are competing for top 10, they probably know most of the stuff that we've already talked about, probably. So like, yeah.
No,
Anyway.
they've probably already picked it up.
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
fun stuff overall, though. I'm glad that they did something different, which is cool. I do still hope that they add some in-depth AI for us, though, eventually.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really great if they basically use this as a precursor to like hype up a future like AI update. Like, could you imagine if in like one of the next 2 updates they're like, "Hey guys, we're actually allowing like some AI configuration, so we just wanted to laugh at you guys struggling with what we currently have for a bit. So enjoy. I'm glad you guys had fun with the time trial. Now we'll give you something better."
But I did want to say, closing out real quick. So this new banner, Ultra Descent of Heroes Festival. It's got Gwar and it's got Lug. Do not pull. I swear to God, if you pull on this,
It's so
I
bad.
don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Do not pull on this.
So here's the thing for people. Like, you can see Lug and Gwar and be like, "Oh, that's pretty great." But if you look at the profitability, it's like 0.5 on Gwar, 0.5 on Lug. Like, that's worse than just the standard DOH featured banner.
Yep.
Like, there's times when the arcs are rated up to like the standard like 0.8 or 0.88, whatever it is. And if a unit is featured, usually it's 0.8. Like, this isn't a great rate. It's fine, Like, it's not great. Luxeus and Old Lancevale are huge misses. Bayland is an okay consolation prize, I guess. But, like,
Whoa, chill.
Lug and Glor are the reasons for this banner, and they're just not good enough. So, like, just don't. Please, just wait. There's better times.
There's a
Yeah.
collab right on the corner, I'm sure. Save your Christmas.
Oh no! Imagine.
Maybe.
Yeah, third. Yeah. So end of the day, do not pull on this. Like we're gonna have third Annie. So more than likely, I want to say that Luxeus is going to be pity for, or not pity, but like the 30k DOH selector or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't think you should I don't think you should pull on this at all whatsoever. Don't do it.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps it up. Covered the semi new unit or new to us. Covered the events, covered the time trial, and just gave our overall thoughts on what's going on. So I don't think there's much more that we can add that you haven't already heard. I don't know if you guys want to add any closing thoughts.
Nah, I'm all right.
No, good, man.
No? Okay. Well, Zero, if you want to end it out for us.
Yeah, well, I appreciate everybody stopping by here live and everybody coming after the fact. Thanks for coming and enjoying the pod. If you got any questions or would like to hang out and talk, I've got links to Discords down in the description. So, yeah, everybody have fun and good luck with the rest of the time trial and whatever else comes next. So, till next time, go forth and murder.